Blogtalk Radio.
Everyone, welcome to the very first edition of the Joseph Gibson Wrap-Up Show. Tonight we'll be covering what the topics were tonight on Joseph Gibson's show, entitled, what is it, Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today, which is pretty ironic because Joseph Gibson does not understand the times in which we live in today. Irony at its best. Tony was kind enough to let me, well, he really wasn't kind enough to let me do anything. I kind of took the password for Blogtalk Radio, and what I do is I come on here whenever I damn well feel like it, and also I restarted my responsibilities and as the co-host. Now tonight, the Joe Gibson show involved a lot of his sycophants calling in. I'm pretty sure, I know the fucker doesn't have enough money to pay anybody. However, one of the topics that he did have was people backing down and being keyboard warriors and so on and so forth. Now, we all know what kind of a warrior Joe Gibson is. He's definitely not a keyboard warrior. He's an up-and-up man, and I don't know, I think he was supposed to have like an MMA fight with somebody. I don't know what it is. But here on the wrap-up show, I give people a chance to call in and actually express their concerns and speak and all that other stuff. And they actually get an opinion in. I don't just have a bunch of people who are my fans, which is probably all of Blog Talk Radio at this point, considering the competition that I have. I mean, what do I have, really? I have Tony Talk, which is pretty damn good, but I wouldn't really call that competition. I have Joe Gibson's show, which is fucking awful. I'm definitely not calling that competition. And I also have God's Rainbow Ministries, which I don't really have a competition with them. There really isn't any competition with that. However, I do want to give shout-outs in the chat room because I actually acknowledge people who are in the chat room, even you troll motherfuckers. So the first person I'd like to acknowledge is myself, going by the name of Tony Talk 1. Oh my God, amazing. Also, I believe I'm looking Spontaneous Jabo Talk. Insane Energy, God damn it, you got right on that. I was going to send you a message and let you know that I was going to do this and you could upload it on your channel tomorrow or something. So tonight's discussions on Joe Gibson's show. We keep one call-in that had about 19 kids, all of them which were pretty much little choir boys in the background singing along with her, and she seemed very happy. She just seemed like such a lovely, happy young woman with about God knows how many kids that she had down south. And no offense to her, she sounded very nice, and she actually made up some good points. She brought up some good points and whatever. And then there was another guy who I believe came on as a co-host who was really begging for that "thank you for your service, sir," because you were in the Army. So I will thank you on the line here. Thank you for your service, because, and not to be a dick, because maybe he did serve, maybe he didn't, I don't know. But you get a lot of guys that, they're in their 40s, mid-40s, early 50s, maybe a little later or longer in the tooth, and they're all served in the military. I talked to one guy at a bar one night. He was a short, fat guy, and he told me that he was in the special forces. And then, I don't know, because I'm 36 years old, whatever. I mean, I decided to Google him, and I have, I found out that he didn't do anything of the sort. He was actually a convicted felon of some sort at one point in time. So there's a lot of shit like that. So yeah, my favorite thing that I heard from this woman was, I don't rely on a man, but I like to know that there's one there. I like to know that I can rely on one if I really need one. Okay. I don't rely on my cat, but the idea of him walking up to me purring and head booping me is a good one. But I really don't need him, though. I mean, I can definitely just get rid of him and so on and so forth, and I really don't need my daughter. Why would I need her? But, I mean, she's good to have around. Come on. Jesus Christ. And yes, I said head boop. He gives head boops. He gives head boops. Don't quote me on that, Johnny Longfeather. But now I'm going to take some phone calls, and then we're going to, and again, the line here for Tony Talk, or this really should just be called like the Higgins Radio Network. R.I.P. The area code and everything is 267-521-0181. You guys can give me a call in, say hello. Tell me what you thought about Joseph Gibson's show tonight. And all you people that were actually trying to get on the line, such as myself and a few others that I know that were trying to get on the line, since he didn't let anybody on the line, specifically one female caller that I do know of that was trying to call in, and he took her off mute, and as soon as she started talking, he shut her down. Let's see. I'm going to do something that a radio host is supposed to do, and that's actually take the calls and hear people's opinions and all that. We're going to do that. So please let me know in the 53 minutes that we have what you guys thought of Joseph Gibson's show. Maybe we'll give him another call. I don't know. We'll try, because he's not going to answer the phone. I'm sure he's prepping very hard for that MMA fight he was supposed to have with me. And before I start taking calls, I'm gonna mention something about bullies, right? They mentioned bullies. Tonight he must have been on his meds, because he's the most fucking notorious bully, at least on Blog Talk Radio. You want to talk about being a keyboard warrior? You're on the radio and you talk shit to people. I highly, highly doubt you do that when you're like grocery shopping or something. I bet you if someone cuts you off and takes the last fucking stack of toilet paper, you sit there and pout like a fucking child who just got their lollipop taken. Like it's pretty obvious, you know. Yeah, bullies this and bullies that, and we'll do this, and yeah, bullies just get punched in the face. And when I was younger, my dad had took me behind a barn and let us fight it out. Well, your dad was a fucking moron, and he probably should have taught you his right from wrong and said, hey, don't be a fucking bully, because you can get your ass kicked. I mean, is what it is, right? I got to know a personal story. My daughter, at one point in time, actually bullied someone in school, and I taught her humility. I brought her in the school in front of the classroom, and she apologized. There were no fists being thrown that day. Although my daughter does have a background in kickboxing, there were no fists being thrown that day. Nothing. There were no fucks. I mean, there were no fucks given either. But she apologized for disrupting the class and everything. So that's how you teach people about being a bully. My stepfather was a bully. I was pushed to beating his ass. And then eventually he stopped. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to take some phone calls in here, and this is a non-bullying channel, which is fucking outrageous, right? The guy, I know, the guy that actually can kick people's asses doesn't want to do it. Go fucking figure. All right, so now we're going to take approaches to getting some phone calls in here. Let's start off with the first female. I'm not going to give that's another thing. I'm not going to give out your area code. Motherfucker, you give everybody's area codes out, and they're always wrong. I'm going to bring on someone. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to have her come on the line. I'm going to have her discuss her deal and what her opinion was of the Joe Gibson show. Now, mind you, she's a bleeding heart liberal, so let's just be nice to her. But she's not one of those ones that, you know, hide in a fucking safe space and cry about it. Believe me, they annoy me too. So let me get her on, and hopefully Gibby will call in, and I can have it out, and maybe they too can discuss something on my show. It'd be great, you know, because this is where people can actually have a conversation. So I'm going to bring you on, female listener. I'm going to bring you on, and please share with me your opinion on what you thought of Joe Gibson's show. Female listener, you are on the Joe Gibson wrap-up show.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Summer. How are you tonight?
Summer, I am doing well. I don't have the coronavirus yet, so we're doing all right. How are you doing?
That's a plus. I'm same here. No corona yet, so that's good. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
All right. Well, Summer, the only corona that I enjoy is a nice cold one, but we're not going to get into that. I used to, before everybody gets upset. And then Luring TJ Hooker just said, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. I can make fun of myself. So fuck you guys if you don't like it. Finally,
Joking's a great coping mechanism.
Amen. So Luring TJ Hooker, finally a female girl. Well, TJ, what fucking girl am I going to get? Am I going to get a male girl? Never mind. I know where you're going with this. Ashley, no offense to you. So, love you, Ash. All right, so what was your opinion, Summer, on Joe Gibson's show?
Well, where would you like me to start? There's a lot of ground to cover.
Just your basic, like, what would you would have said to him, hence if he actually, like, listened?
Well, let's start with the difference between communism and socialism. If you pick up a book, there's quite a difference between the two things. Communism is everybody does something different, but everybody gets the same thing. There's no motivation to do anything. If you study to be a doctor, you get paid the same thing as somebody who was lazy and wanted to be a trash man. Not that there's anything wrong with being a trash man. I'm just saying if you put all that hard work into studying, you should be rewarded. It's not about hating capitalism. It's about hating greed. And socialism seems to work very well in most other well-civilized countries in this world. Norway, Denmark, the UK, France. It's not a perfect system, but it's a lot better than the system we have now where you've got so many people without health insurance, a nationwide pandemic, and not enough hospitals, not enough equipment, not enough of anything. People in this generation, speaking as what's an older millennial, I guess, yeah, I'm in that group. I'm 35, so I'm considered an elder millennial, which is hilarious to me. But speaking from this group, we got tired of corporate greed. We got tired of assholes who give themselves $36 million in bonuses and won't pay their workers a fair wage. That's why people like Bernie Sanders are very popular right now, because people are tired of being fucked. That's what this is about. It's not about, we want to cry and be in a safe space. It's we're educated enough to realize that we're being fucked by the 1% in this country, and that's the problem. And people like Joe and his listeners don't realize that because they're still living in this nostalgic world of the 1950s where daddy would come home from work and mommy would have a pie on the windowsill. I think he even referenced Andy Griffith at some point, and it's like that was never the case for a lot of people in America. Maybe it was your perspective, but it wasn't everybody's perspective. And to sit on that high horse and be like, America was better like this when people beat the snot out of each other and too many people trying to talk things out now, it's bullshit. Complete bullshit. And it's sad. It's sad because there's such a divide in this country over that. You've got the people who support Donald Trump and his beliefs and buy into his nonsense because they don't know any better. And that's what it comes down to. So that's what pissed me off about that. We don't want things for free. Socialism isn't things for free. It's our tax money coming back to us in healthcare, in education, in infrastructure. That's where we want our money to be put, not in Republicans' pockets or Democrats for that matter. I've never been really on either side. It's about doing what's best for Americans. That's what it comes down to. And when you're playing partisan politics, nobody wins. And you can see that now. We need relief in this country because of what's going on, and Congress is arguing it out, and people are suffering. That's first of all. Second of all, men need to act like men and women need to act like women. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'm not supposed to want to go out and earn a living for myself. I'm supposed to sit in my ivory tower and wait for some guy to come and rescue me. I fucking love Disney, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love Disney, but I'm not that pampered, powdered princess that's going to sit in my tower and wait for some man to come by and do everything for me. That's ridiculous, and it's a waste of my intelligence and my talent. So if I'm acting manly by being able to provide myself, what kind of man are you to be intimidated by that?
Right, and also adding on to that, the American dream by most women who were around Joe's age, a little bit older, or can I just say boomers? Am I going to get shit on if I say boomers?
I don't think that's an insult. I really don't.
Well, most of the boomers had it in everyone's head, because I remember, I mean, hell, even my daughter's mom would say, I would catch her saying to her, and one of the reasons why we broke up, and even a girl that I dated after that, it was like, hey, he's a good guy. He's a big, strong guy, and he fights in a cage. He's going to take care of you someday. I said, what the fuck? I was like, is that what your goal is? The worst thing that I've ever heard come out of someone's mouth, a woman's mouth, was she wasn't financially stable. She had a kid with a drug addict. I'm not going to use the term junkie or anything like that, but I sure as fuck can say addict because I'm one of them. Yeah. So like, and she turns around and she's like, one day everything will be better. My mother told me that one day I'll get financial assistance for housing, and I can't wait for that day. And it was like,
oh, that's awful.
Yeah. And it was like, well, why can't, who the fuck trained you to wait for that? Why can't you go out and try? I know it's a little impossible in some situations to get a fucking job, I guess, and try to pay rent and raise your kid yourself. I mean, like how fucking hard is that? Like, what? Like, why is it okay? We're talking about generations now. Every generation that I grew up around, the children were doing better than the parents when they got older.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Our generation, and the generation younger than us, we're fucked. The kids in college right now, the 20 or whatever, the 25-year-olds, and even, I don't know, 18, 17, these kids are fucked. They're absolutely fucked.
They're starting out with so much debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How are they supposed to accomplish their dreams when they're coming out with $120,000 worth of student debt? How are you supposed to buy a house or have a family? How are you supposed to obtain that American dream?
You can't. There is no American dream. The American dream has become the American nightmare, and investments have now become liabilities. You want to own a house? That's a fucking liability.
I agree.
And Insane Energy, one of the guys that actually posts up the Tony Talk stuff and everything, he says in the chat room that he agrees that the boomers have fucked this world to hell and back. And I'll tell you about the boomers, any generation that wants to put fucking linoleum over hardwood is definitely in line to fuck shit up.
You know.
And as far as like, and Farrar just said, big strong men, not these computer geeks. Listen, man, I'll put my faith in the computer geeks. These kids now, these geeks, these antisocial kids that sit there on their phones, aren't going out and fucking shit up. They're not blowing up cars. They're not they're not fucking beating up girls that won't hold their hand. They're not. A lot of them aren't actual bullies. A lot of them aren't bullying other people. Because they were taught differently. They were taught by their parents who were geeks, who were bullied. Go figure. So like,
geeks run the world.
And like, you know, I grew up in a generation that was like, oh, you're skipping school, man. You're such a badass. And then like, here I am 15 years later, the kid that called me the badass, you know, the kid that has been 15, or I'm gonna age myself here. I'm gonna say 20 years. 20 years later, the kid that called me such a badass is the one with a fucking degree, and he's making bank, and he's trying to buy me drinks at a bar because, oh, you were such a badass in high school. You know, I mean, it's like this generation's very different.
Yeah.
And most politicians are full of shit, to be honest, right or left. They just give a fuck about whose pockets they're filling.
Absolutely, but two sides of the same coin.
But Summer, since I got you on the line, I'm going to bring Derek on. There's kid Derek that wants to actually get on here. He's not a kid either. I think Derek might be a little bit older than me. Derek wants to have a discussion with you, and we're going to talk about Joe's show and Joe Schmo. And we're gonna get on with the Joe wrap-up show, which I got 40 minutes left, and I hope Gibby calls in. I hope he does. I'm looking through the chat room, and I don't see him in there. But let's get Derek on the line. Derek,
what's good? What's good, my man? How's it going?
Not much, man. What did you get out of Gibby's show tonight, since he didn't put anybody aside his sycophants on the air?
I got absolutely nothing out of it. I don't understand. Like, I've listened to this guy's show repeatedly. I don't really know why. I think I'm just, bored or whatever. But
it's like a train wreck. You have to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that he does makes a difference. Like, there's no, like, he doesn't bring on people with differing ideas, so there's no discourse, right? There's no talking about anything. He just brings on people that agree with him. And that's it. And that's the show. And, like, tonight he had some guy on. I don't know. I think his name was Chad. I don't know what the point of the guy was. All he did was talk about, like, he gave basically, throughout the show, his life story, which no one asked for. Had nothing to do with anything, but he's talking about going behind a barn and all this other. Like, what does that have to do with anything that's going on? Like, not a thing. And all his shows are like this. And then he brought the kid on and just asked him, like, I don't know what the goal of that was. Like,
it was a stroke fest.
Yeah, it was just a circle jerk. and
that's exactly what it was.
And it was ridiculous, and I don't understand the guy. And he's actually trying to run for some sort of public office, which I think is hilarious, since he constantly is ripping politicians and all. I mean, he's a clown, and I don't know. I don't have anything good to say about the guy, honestly. Nothing. So, what did you think, J-Bo? What were your thoughts on the show?
So I'm not very keen on politics and all that other shit. But aside from the stroke fest, and aside from him being a terrible radio host, and he gives a fucking bad name for radio hosts and podcast hosts everywhere. He just gives us all bad names. I think, first of all, if you're gonna have a show and it's gonna be uncensored and you can have people call in, don't have your sycophants calling in. Don't do it. That's all he did. It was literally, it was equivalent to me running a wrestling show and me only letting fans or girls that want to fuck me on the air. Like, that's it. Like that, literally, that's all it is. Like, that's all it is. It's a circle jerk. Like, that's all I can say that it was. It was just a circle jerk, and I feel as though it's my duty and obligation, since I've had run-ins with Joe, and because I don't know, I inadvertently picked up Tony Talk fans. Maybe I'll start doing a wrap-up show to give everybody an opinion, because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to give people an opinion. I mean, if there was a Joe Gibson fan that's going to call in, I'd fucking bring them on the line so we could have a debate. But there aren't a lot of Joe Gibson fans. Joe Gibson fans only know of one radio show, and that's his.
J-Bo, you know what's funny, and I think this is irony at its greatest? As much as Gibson talks shit about Tony Talk and Tony in general, one thing I respect about Tony is literally almost every person that calls his show fucks with him. It has the opposite opinion and gives him shit, and he just keeps taking calls. He doesn't care. Joe is literally the opposite of that. Everybody that calls his show jerks him off. So I know you've had, J-Bo, I know you've had some issues with Tony, and you could tell the story about what happened the other night if you want. But, I mean, one thing I respect about him is he just keeps taking calls. Like, he doesn't give a shit. He'll just keep taking callers. And he gets his balls broken all the time, but never stops.
Poor guy. He sighs a lot.
Yeah. It's crazy. But I do respect that about him. I do respect it about him.
Yeah, he takes the shit. He gets mad and rage quits. I mean, but it's like, but he'll. I mean, the show's. You have to have some type of entertainment value that goes with you. I don't care if you're talking about fucking a bowl of pineapple, not literally, because I don't want Johnny Longfeather to get excited. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about fucking a bowl of pineapples, but if you could,
that sounds painful.
Know what?
I don't have a dick, but that sounds painful.
But let's just say it's a topic, right? Okay, so if you're like, okay, let's talk about fucking fruit. Or let's talk
field
about,
at least.
let's talk about knitting. Let's talk about, okay, fucking fruit's kind of funny. I would tune in to hear a story about someone trying to fuck a bowl of fruit. But like,
especially if Ken was telling it.
Yeah, especially if
Pastor Ken.
I want Pastor Ken to explain that if he's ever done it. So
yes.
So if there is a show about a woman knitting, about just anything, any fucking thing, there has to be some type of entertainment value. There has to be either a catchphrase,
right.
There has to be anything. There's nothing entertaining about Joe aside from when Joe loses his shit. Like, I've never sat there and said...
I think he just likes to hear himself talk.
I mean, I like to hear myself talk too, but take a fucking breather once in a while and like let people have a conversation.
Summer's absolutely right though. Like the majority, like when you host a show, another thing Tony's pretty good at. When you host a show, when you're taking callers, you let your callers talk, right? Joe, his fame is for not to interrupt, but all he does is interrupt people.
I heard that, yes.
All because he wants to hear himself talk. That's all it is. Like, he loves the sound of his own voice. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just...
Maybe he will make a good politician.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, literally, I can't... I stopped trying to get on the show because he won't take my call. He's threatened to throw me in a what was it? What do you always say, J-Bo? Not a pine box, concrete box.
Concrete box.
The cops are gonna arrest me by New Year's, all this other bullshit.
Oh, dear Lord.
The Blogtalk FBI are coming to get me. I mean, seriously, get the fuck out.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think he, I just got a message from Johnny Longfeather, and it says, "I fuck fruit." And it wasn't with a question mark at the end of it. Now, and I didn't mean to throw that in there, but someone needs to screenshot that and paste it everywhere. So, all right, so the whole thing with, like you said, he doesn't give anybody a chance to speak. Or when how are you a radio host and have a talk show when you're the only one talking? I don't get it. It's beyond me. I don't get it.
Well, it's why it's so bad. It's that. I mean, there's a couple reasons. It's that.
I would say one of many reasons.
Yeah, he's got insane opinions. The only people that get through on his show now are his moron. Like, it's literally isn't. I think it's every person that calls is some way related to him. Either that, or they think like him. So it's
definitely
circle jerk of 2 hours of circle jerking, and it's just I don't know.
Definitely.
I think my brain is actually rotting away every time I listen to this guy. It's
actually what's his area code?
Shit. I know he's in North Carolina, but I don't know what his area code is.
I think I see him sitting there at the bottom of the queue. He hasn't hit one yet, but I'm definitely going to bring him on.
Oh, that ought to be good. I wonder, is he training for your fight?
Yeah, he's training real hard, I'm sure.
Oh, God. You know that was never going to happen. He'll never fight you, dude.
No. There are guys that are training that don't.
You look pretty scary, so I wouldn't want to fight you.
Well, looks have nothing to do with it. And that's another thing that he said. Oh, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. No, motherfucker. The real portion of that, all right, is the bigger they are, the harder they hit. However, everyone's the same size on the ground.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about J-Bo that I would never fight him because he's way outside my weight class, and I could probably hit him 50 times, and it wouldn't do anything. And he'd hit me once, and I would end up outside the ring.
Depends on where you hit him.
Well, that's true. Maybe if I called him
a
right on the
well-placed
chin,
shot to the nuts always does the trick.
Yeah, or a shot on the chin maybe could knock him out, but it would have to. I mean, I doubt it. I think Joe's bigger than I am, so he at least has that going for him. But he'd be smart not to try to fight a professional fighter, even though he talks about J-Bo like he always misquotes his record. And I mean, if you've seen, I've seen a few fights on YouTube. I know he can fight.
Yeah, me too.
He only lost once. He only lost once, and he's a professional.
Yeah,
so
that's what I read.
I would also like to add.
He should stick to meat grazing at Gold's Gym and leave J-Bo alone.
I would like to add that the Athletic Commission is investigating that fight. The spinning back fist that I received to my face, it was an alternative back fist. It really didn't connect, but it did. But there's no proof that it connected, even though it looked like it did on video. And I believe it was an alternative fact, and I believe that the referee, even though I looked like I was out on my ass, or my face for that matter, I believe it was a wrong call by the referee. Yeah. I mean, I didn't look like I was really that damaged either. The blood that was on me was probably my opponent's, like definitely not mine. Yeah. So we're going to stick with that.
Have you considered flipping the fight from martial arts to just boxing? Maybe that would entice him more. Because I actually want this to happen. Like, I want to see this guy humble.
He's like selling seriously. Tickets already.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see him. This guy is the most arrogant, egotistical human being I've ever listened to. He thinks he is the shit. He needs to be humbled in the worst way. It
sounds like a small dick problem to me personally, but I mean, that's usually the case. I mean, it's usually the most insecure men that have the loudest opinions.
Yeah, and I've heard that his wife cheated on him with a black guy, and he's.
Oh, that'll do it. Especially for someone in North Carolina.
Yeah. There you go. That will do it.
Damn. Well, I mean, I don't even have to beat his ass. I'll just have Summer sit on a microphone and talk to him.
I have a feeling he probably wouldn't want to talk to me.
No, you wouldn't have had this much time.
No, he'd try to hit on you. No question in my mind, he would try to hit.
Or he'd call me a lesbian because I wouldn't be interested in his bullshittery.
Well, that's probably true too. That's good work.
Actually, speaking of bullshittery, we got another. We got someone else that wants to come on the line and bullshit a little bit. So I'm going to bring him on. Her, him, I don't know. But let's see, 417. Come on the line, 417. What did you think about Joey G?
Hold on. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, can you hear me now? Hello,
yes. Hello. I can hear you.
Yeah. What's his deal with always challenging everybody to beat him up and stuff? I mean, I've seen the guy. He's about the biggest pussy I've ever seen in my life.
I think he knows, especially with me, that I'm not the type to just go and beat the dog shit out of someone. And he likes to entice it, and he'll talk and he'll say whatever. And then when I finally did accept and said, yeah, you're right, I guess I will do it, and we'll do it for charity. And I called North Carolina up and did the whole, hey, can we get this sanctioned type of deal? I'll go to 205 since he walks at 200. And once I had mentioned that to him, he just kind of stepped off.
Not to interrupt you, but not to interrupt you, but what are you currently? I mean, what do you? I mean, what's that tickle? Weight-wise.
You were
talking about 100.
What do I weigh right now?
What do you weigh?
Well, I mean, yeah, something like that. I mean, what do you typically fight at? Your fighting weight?
Well, my fighting weight, I was a fat fuck. I should not have been fighting at the weight I was at. I'm
really?
Healthy.
I did.
Yeah. I'm healthy at 240, 250. I'm actually pretty ripped at 240, which is fucked up, and I thank God for that.
Oh, yeah.
But I fought at 265, and then at one point I was such a fat fuck, I hit 305 because, I was drinking and eating everything in sight, and then, whatever. And I ended up cutting to 265. What motherfucker has to cut to heavyweight? And then I realized, this is really stupid. The best shape I've ever been in was 235, 240, and that was actually for professional wrestling because my trainers over at I'm going to plug them, New England Pro Wrestling Academy, they ended up really just shredding me the fuck up. They were like, no, we can't. You can fight fat, but you can't be in show business fat. So
that's absolutely true.
But yeah, I can fight. I'll fight him. I mean, if I were to fight him, I'd have to cut to 205, or he'd have to go up to 225. But then I'm looking at him, and I don't think he'd be able to hold 225, and it would slow him down. And I want to give him the best advantage I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, he'd need it. I heard old Tony whipped his ass once or twice.
Oh, Tony?
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that. I would buy tickets to that show.
I would buy. Yeah, that I would pay, because that actually might be a good fight. But I still think Tony would wreck him. Honestly.
Yeah. I think Tony got him in a leg lock or like a triangle or something. And with his IBS, I think he's outgassed.
Would it be fucked if Gibson is lying to all of us and he's like a fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that, because if he was, he wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
No,
sure.
No, he wouldn't. You're right. He would. He would remind me every day. He'd remind me every day. He'd be like, no.
Oh my god.
Joey.
J-Bo only has stripes on his white belt.
I'm gonna go look at J-Bo's record and see it's 1-3. Ooh, I'm scared of him. Oh my god, he's an idiot.
If my record was 1-3, I wouldn't fucking tell anybody I fought. I would never fucking tell anybody I had a fight. I literally would change my name. Like one of the dudes that I fought, his name was I'm not going to give his name because I like him. He's on my Facebook. You guys can look him up and guess which one it was. But he was a young kid. He was 19, 20 years old. I was 28 or 29, I don't know, 30 at the time, whatever. I was fucking 30 probably. And he was talking about how he was going to lay out this dinosaur and how he was the new up-and-coming, they called him the new prodigy. And he got in the cage with me, and I beat the dog shit out of him. On purpose, I kept him going for about 2-3 rounds straight before I finally finished it with a head kick, and he was out cold against the cage. But I mean, him, I did that to him. I beat the. I hate to say it, but he had it coming, and he knows he does. And if he's listening, which I highly doubt he is, love you, buddy. But I actually trained him for a boxing match that he did after that, which he won. Thank Christ, because he needed it. The fucker tapped out to strikes. Okay. He actually tapped out to strikes, and that was career suicide. He never fought again after that. But yeah, and people ask him, they're like, "Oh, didn't we see you on Nesson or didn't we?" And no, that wasn't me. He's like, "No, that wasn't me getting my head kicked in." But yeah, if I had a 1-3, if I had a 1-3 record, I wouldn't fucking talk about it. It's just you don't brag about shit like that.
Right. No. No, not at all. Huh.
Well, the way you are, you wouldn't brag about it if you were 10-0. So you're just a humble guy.
Well, thank you. And no, I'd brag about it probably to myself, my daughter, my wife, but I wouldn't. But I wouldn't fucking. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't go around telling her I'm 10-0. Hey, 10-0. Are you 10-0? No, I am. I wouldn't go around doing that because I knew.
I'm 25-0 myself.
Because you're not John Jones.
Well, that's the problem. If I went around 10-0 and I was bragging about it, my fucking ass would end up meeting somebody like Cain Velasquez at the time or John Jones, and then I'd be like, well, there goes my 10-0 because. I mean, at one point there was a rumor going around, and it was a stupid rumor, but it was pretty accurate. I was supposed to fight Kimbo Slice. Okay, there was actual talk about me fighting, and God rest his soul. Yeah, but it wasn't.
He just fucked nigger.
Oh.
Whoa. Oh. Well, sorry.
Wrong show, motherfucker.
He's just a butt nigger. He can't fight. I've seen him in the backyards. He's just no southern nigger. He can't fight no better than anybody else. Oh, Lord.
He's
Kimbo. Okay. I know Kimbo. He's fought.
And my asshole just clenched.
Yeah.
Fought. No, he's a big old boy. He's a good fighter, but he's no MMA top of the line. He may be ranked number 15. Nah, he ain't. He's no fighter anymore.
Yeah, but nobody would want to fight. Nobody would want to get hit by him, and he doesn't fight because he's dead. He died.
Right. It's drugs. His heart or something.
It wasn't drugs. It was his heart because he had an enlarged heart, probably from supplements. But I don't know.
I didn't know for sure if he was drugs or nothing like that. Yeah, I shouldn't have mentioned that. But yeah, I knew it was his heart or something like that. So I've heard it was related or steroids or something. But
steroids and MMA, I don't think that's ever happened. Never.
No. Not at all.
No, steroids has never happened in MMA. And guys like Brock Lesnar are natural. We're just going to say, we're going to leave it there.
Yeah, sure. As natural as a three-headed baby.
Brock's listening right now. Brock's like, this motherfucker. Paul, get him on the line.
I like Brock Lesnar, but can we all say the obvious? That sword to his throat tattoo looks like a dick. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Wrong show, Summer. God damn it, but you're right.
It does, though.
Well, 417, I'm going to put you on mute. Thank you for calling in. I'm going to pick up some other calls.
Thanks for having me, J-Bo.
You're welcome anytime. And I know if you're going to drop an N-bomb, just fucking don't. Just fucking don't do it.
Yeah, let's keep the N-word hard R out of the show, please.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, so bam, J-Bo versus Brock in an MMA fight or a wrestling match? Because if it's a wrestling match, he can just talk me through it because I'm still green. All right, let's see. I'm going to bring on...
What other topic would you like to discuss from Mr. Gibson's show that was completely...
What were topics? There were no topics.
Well, J-Bo, can you tell the story? I already know the story, but can you tell the story, and this has nothing to do with Gibson, but can you tell the story about what happened the other night with Tony? Because I talked to him, and he was screaming about going to your house, and I was trying to talk him out of it, and he hung up on me, told me to go fuck myself, hung up on me, and then I guess he went to your house. And I don't know if the fans know what happened after that, or if that even they even know that happened.
So I get a phone call that I was ignoring because it was him. Normally when he calls me at a certain time at night, he's drunk as shit. And he says he doesn't drink, but he does. From one alcoholic to another, I can pick up when someone's drinking or not. And he calls me up, and he goes, he's just like, come outside. It's like, what? He's like, come outside. I have to fucking talk to you. I said, all right. I go outside. Now he's not drunk because he's driving. So now I'm like, all right, if he's straight, and he's got a straight mind, why the fuck is he talking to me like this? So I get outside, and he's standing outside the car, door wide open in the middle of a very busy street that I live on. And he looks at me. Mind you, it's a narrow street, okay, in Boston. Well, I'm off of Boston. So in my town, we have the Boston roads, and Boston wasn't made for cars. They were made for horse and buggy. So there's Tony and his Toyota Avalon taking up the whole fucking street. Hazards not even on. People are beeping and going by him. He looks at me, sticks up his middle finger. He says, fuck you, pussy. I think he said either pussy or cunt or something like that. Gets back in the car, and as he's pulling away, he ends up going in reverse by accident, slams his brakes.
Aww.
He yells, fuck, and drives away. So that's the last I've heard of him. But apparently I still have the password. He hasn't tried to change it, and he hasn't tried to, like, beat me with a salami or a plunger or anything. So I'm lucky to be alive.
Praise Jesus.
You like to live dangerously.
Oh, do I? I love to live dangerously smooth.
No.
Oh, God. Womp, womp.
So, I think I'm trying to figure out if I have Joey's number here.
Hold on. Let me see if anybody knows this friggin' number. I don't.
Because I want to give him a chance to speak.
A North Carolina number. Shit. 336. Does that sound right?
I think so.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
That I think might be him. I'm going to jail. I'm sure that'll be one of the first things he says. Derek, I got your number. I have all your information. You're going to jail.
Well, shout out to Mike Hunt, who just sent up the number to me. Mike Hunt is going to go to jail.
Didn't you try calling him before and he didn't answer?
Yeah, but no, he's answered before. I've had him on the show. He loves me. I'm one of his favorite people. He absolutely loves me. I'm going to call him right now. So here we go. It's going to be amazing. I'll have to call him back if he doesn't answer.
Shocking.
He's not in the chat room either, which is weird.
He's probably on Zoom with all his little jerk-off buddies.
All four of them?
Yeah, all
four of them. Has an extra account that he has.
Oh, it's like his entire family. His entire family's in there.
It won't even go to voicemail.
You know those people that call his show, like Leroy and all them? They're all his, like, that's his brother. His dad calls in. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just a family show. Yeah. Yep.
Boy.
That's why I said,
and that's what gets me. People, like, don't want to actually have any type of discourse. You said that, too. It's like, God forbid someone has a differing opinion and you actually might learn something from them, or you might find some common ground in what they're saying. Because, I mean, some of the points that were made, I agree with to some extent, but a lot of it was just, ego stroking and men be men and women be women, and this country was great when Reagan was in office. And, Reagan is one of the reasons why we have this trickle-down economics crap that actually doesn't work and only puts money in the pockets of the top 1% as opposed to the rest of us who are busting our asses and paying all the taxes and getting screwed at the end of the day.
What's funny is you said he wants things to go back to the 1950s. I actually don't think that's far enough for him. I think he wants to go back to, like, the 1860s.
Well, I'm sure you're right, I'm sure you're right. And like I said, the first thing that would be said, to someone like me is, oh, what are you, a lesbian, or what are you, a dyke, or this, that, and the other thing? And it's just...
Yep.
Why are you so intimidated by, a woman who doesn't need you? Isn't it better to have a partner that, you want? And, I agree with that woman with all of those kids. I mean, bless her, that's a lot of kids to look after. But it's just like,
right.
It's nice to have a partner that you want around, but at the same time, it's like there are plenty of women and men out there that are being single parents. And good for them. And one of the points that really pissed me off and that, oh, my God, got me so angry was, when people got married, they stayed married, period. So what about the women whose husbands are cheating on them or beating them?
Or beating them. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Even for the men, same thing with the women. Like, if you're a guy and your wife is cheating on you, are you just expected to deal with that?
Well, no, you know what happened?
Agree.
You know what happened is, and I'll tell you, I'll be very personal here. Like, I'm not personal enough. I could literally take my balls and hang them out of my window on the main street that I live on, and that's, I've had more privacy blown on the air than I would do if I did that. So growing up, my grandparents, and I loved my grandmother. She was awesome. My grandfather was a weirdo. We'll get into that some other time because I like making fun of him. My grandparents were like that. They were married around the time because my grandfather, his exact words were, "I got you pregnant. I had to stick around." But then the fucker did it 2 more times, and had 2 other kids. One being a mutant, by the way. That would be my uncle. But yeah, so what they would do is he would have his own bedroom, and my grandmother had her own bedroom, and my aunt who lived with them because my aunt took care of them had her own bedroom, or she shared a fucking room with my grandmother. So like, and to me, I'm like, how the fuck is this normal? And people are growing up like that back then. It's not normal, and I'm like, why the fuck? I said to her, I said, Nana, why the fuck? No, that was not my grandfather that killed chickens, Richard.
Oh, God.
Wrong grandfather. So, but my grandfather did something weirder than that. We'll talk about that another time. I think he jerked off in a rice bowl in Korea or something. I don't know. But
Louis C.K.?
Sorry. Close enough. So, yeah, they lived in separate they lived in the same house, but, like, there was never any interaction. Once in a while, he'd come out because I think he wanted to get his dick wet, and he was just like, hey, and he'd start talking to her, and then she's just like, fuck off. He'd spend the time blowing his money down at, like, a corner store playing the lottery. But, yeah, they had separate bedrooms. And now, I grew up with my grandmother and everything, and, you know, whatever. She died when I was 16, and I had to go live with my parents again, which was terrible. But, like, I remember asking her, like, why the fuck do you guys have separate bedrooms? And she looked at me, she goes, because that's what we do. We're a different married couple. Like, so me growing up, and she said to me, though, she tried to set the record straight. She's like, try not to do that with your wife. Whoever you marry, try not to do that, okay? Right. I was like, okay. Ashley just asked, Jabo, why do you have all these weirdos in your life? It's because it's the fucking hand that God gave me. So,
yeah, life gave you lemons. You made fucking lemonade, brother.
That's right.
Lemonade. I'm running out of sugar, man. But yeah, we but yeah, like we just that's the thing. And growing up around that, I would have assumed that was normal. And if my wife had said to me, you know, hey, let's get fucking separate bedrooms. Yeah, sure, no problem. I'm going to go, I don't know, drink by myself in my room. That would be normal for me. And then I would pass it on generation to generation. But that's called being in an unhappy marriage, where if they weren't beaten to fucking, or browbeaten to death with fucking, hey, you're Catholic, don't get a divorce, you're going to go to hell, so on and so forth, they probably would have been divorced and happier. I don't know about my grandfather. He'd probably be found in the woods, you know, with his dick in his hand up against the tree. But but yeah, I mean, my grandmother would have been happier. Yeah.
Well, because in that generation, you know, if she divorced him, then she would have been a pariah. She would have been a social pariah. Like, what's wrong with her? She can't hold on to her husband. She can't hold on to her man.
Right.
Good point. Yeah, I wanted to say something Summer mentioned earlier, and I can tell she's more of a liberal thinking person, which is fine. I'm more of a conservative, but one thing I can agree with her on is I will never understand this, like, this gender role bullshit. Like, you have to stay home and take care of the kids. The man has to go out. Like, this is not, like she said, it's not 1950. Like, I've never been married, but I've always wanted to find a woman that had a great education, a great job, was a good person. I would not want someone that just wanted to stay at home. I mean, unless that's what they wanted to do. I would never browbeat a woman into, you're going to, like,
right.
I mean, those days are gone, you know? And
right. Absolutely,
and so, I mean, like, I don't understand that. I'll never understand it because we're all human beings and we all have different desires and wants. And if a woman wants to go out there and be a doctor, she has every right to be. It's not communist China here. So I totally agree with that. And, you know, and just as an aside, I definitely, you know, I'm not a huge fan of divorce, but if a woman is being abused in a situation, she has every right to walk away from that situation and get divorced. So people have these, like, you know, really, I don't know what the word is, like, just old archaeological views on things. And maybe that's not the right word, but whatever. My
I like
point
it
is,
anyway.
People have these old archetypes or stereotypes of what things are supposed to happen, and it's just
fossilized
ridiculous.
views.
Yeah, man, just like this is not the dinosaur days. There's no caves. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and absolutely, completely.
And so, I wanted to comment on that because I thought that was a great point, and I really don't get it. I don't understand a person's way of thinking that is good, positive, or normal for any person, woman, man, anybody, to have a role assigned to you as opposed to you finding your role in life and doing what you love.
Oh, absolutely. And even to that point, like, if, as a woman and as someone, I consider myself to be a feminist, but if you want to stay home, more power to you. If you want to stay home and if you can afford to, like, let's be realistic here. In this day and age, like, it's really hard to have a one-income household. But if you're lucky enough where that's what you want and you want to be a stay-at-home wife and you want to be a stay-at-home mother, good for you, too. No one should look down on anybody for that choice, too. I think the point really is to have that choice. Like you said, to be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a wife and mother, my mother was like that, and she wanted to be a wife and a mother, and she didn't want to work, and that was fine. And I think that's okay. If you can do that, if you can afford that, go for it. If that's what makes you happy, by all means. You know what I mean? It's just about finding out what makes you happy. So I totally agree with you on that point. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's funny because, we run out of time, buddy?
No, go ahead. We got like 3 minutes left.
Oh, I was just going to make a quick point. I grew up and my mom basically raised me, with my dad, obviously, but up until 5, she basically never left my side. And then at 5, I went into like daycare because that's what you did back then. Yeah. And my mom got a job. My mom wasn't happy just staying at home, being a stay-at-home mom. Right. She went out and got a job to help our family because we weren't. I mean, my dad had a decent job, but we needed more money in our family to kind of get to the point where we could live a good life, and that's what they did, and it worked out, and they're still together, and so I mean, there's lots of ways to get to the point you want to be at. There's not just one way. That's what I would definitely say to that. So, J-Bo, back to you, brother. Sure.
Amen. And listen, with the last 2 minutes left, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Ashley, I got you for the next show because it looks like Tony's going to be a dick suck and not want to do a show. So I might try to get on here an hour and a half every other night or every night, I guess. I honestly have no topics to talk about. Tonight was the Joey Gibson wrap-up show. But apparently, if I can get Summer on here a little bit more, we can have more discussions about shit that's actually happening.
Yeah, she's great, man. She's great. I wish you would have got the call on the Gibson. That would have been amazing.
I did, and he hung up on me. I unmuted it, I guess, a little too slowly for his taste, and hung up on me.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I tried.
You got to try again, man, because that would be an electric radio.
Thank you. I have a feeling it would end up with him screaming at me and hanging up.
No, I'll get him on. He can't do that on my show because I have fucking control. So that's a 90-second warning from the Blogtalk radio woman. And I guess I want to thank everybody for calling in. Summer, thank you. Derek, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Ash, I will get you. And I think I see shadows dancing in my kitchen. Great. Ashley haunted my house. Get your demons out of here, please. This is why I don't have Ouija boards now.
She haunted Don Cornelius's dog, too, by the way.
Oh. Really evil. All right. Well, have a good night, guys. Thank you. And on the closing note, I would like to say thank you again to Derek and Summer. Summer, I'll get you back on here some other time. Everyone have a good night. I will get my own show going, I guess, again, since people want to hear from me. And until then, fuck you, Joe Gibson, and everyone have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Stay safe, y'all. Stay safe, y'all.
You too. You too. Bye.
Bye.